All right, YouTube. It's been a while. I am sorry for my lack of attentiveness when it comes to this channel in particular. I've just been feeling more like Twitch lately. I've been seeing some more activity over there, and I've been doing some stuff over there that YouTube might not appreciate so much. Reading some visual novels, sometimes some lewd content. I've been doing some Factorio, and I like to listen to my own music when I play that. Get me in trouble here on YouTube. So, yeah, sorry I haven't been over here much. As for the Minecraft streams, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty burned out when it comes to Minecraft, so theirs are still going to be on hiatus, but I promise I'll do something over here every once in a while. So please bear with me. As for tonight, I don't plan on going for too long on this. My friend wanted a tutorial for Midinous. I consider myself pretty versed in how the program works. He says that he's already gotten things set up. So I might get into that later if we have time. Because setting it up in the first place is... I guess first thing first, we'll start with that. I have put links in the description for the sound font that I'm using, which is the general user sound font, for my digital audio workstation, my DAW. The DAW of my choice is LMMS. It's an open source music editing program. And once you connect your settings in such a way, you go up to, I haven't looked at this. This is raw improvision. So you hit settings, you go to MIDI, and for me, I'm on Linux, so I have a mess that I have to deal with. So on Linux, as to my understanding at least, there are a couple of options for dealing with your audio devices. There's Pulse Fire and Pipewire. I think most of my settings are set to Pipewire. But anyway, you just have to come over here on the settings, make sure that MIDI is enabled to some degree or another. I have mine apparently set to ALSA raw MIDI, Advanced Linux Sound Architecture. I don't want to mess with it, so I'm gonna not click anything there. I have QPWgraph, which is currently a mess because my sound hasn't been working properly over the last few days, but long story short of it, you just have to make sure that the Midinous port is connected to the MIDI through port. And then you have to make sure that the MIDI through port is connected to LMMS into all the instruments that you may be loading into it. I also have a keyboard, physical real-life keyboard, sat in front of me. So it's a USB device, a USB MIDI interface that I have connected to the keyboard port on LMMS. So once you've done those things and your MIDI is actually connected to your DAW, you can get everything going. So basically you plop down some notes with the note drop tool. You can place them down anywhere, it really doesn't matter, but you're going to need to be able to draw a line from one to the other. The amount of time that it takes to play one note than the other is going to be based on how long it takes for basically a little light to travel from one node to the other. So so this is all very, very basic stuff. Right now, all of these are set to channel 1, and I suppose I should go back to the DAW real quick. My channel 1 and my non-defined channel, my USB channel, are both set to just piano keyboard. So if I hit this and then actually play notes on my keyboard, you can see it and you can hear it. But that's not going through to this piano chord. This one is set up to the Midinous program. So to do that, I suppose I should demonstrate. You got to hit the instrument plugin. You're going to drag over the sound font 2 player into your song editor. Once it's in there, you click it, it will just be titled General User. Well, well no, that's not quite correct. Let's delete this. Remove. Okay, so here we go. Sound font 2 player. Drag it in. You click it. You then select your file, the general user file. You put it somewhere on your computer. It doesn't really matter where. You open it up. Then it defaults to stereo grand. You hit the gear, or the wrench, and you have all these options, as well as some other options on the side. So lots of stuff. Night vision's kind of neat. Then you can tap it here. And if it sounds good, you enable MIDI input. You make sure that it is selected to MIDI through port. You could try to directly connect it to Midinous, but I think I already have the Patchbay set up, right? So if I hit MIDI through port, it will automatically connect it to that. So then you select the channel. There are 16, up to 16 channels for MIDI. That's just how MIDI works. So now, if I were to, and you can rename it too. So let's night vision. It is very useful to keep yourself organized by naming things. I like to name things with the number of the port next to it. Looks like we already had a night vision, but we'll demonstrate with this anyway. So if I come here, I change all of these by highlighting them all to channel 16. Rearrange these in any way. We can change the note with scrolling here, or we could bring the drop down. Or so these are octaves, and then these are notes. It starts at C. I don't know why. I prefer if it didn't, but it's just music theory stuff for you, I guess. Now, setting notes, lining them, it's all, in my opinion, pretty simple, easy stuff to consider. It's simple in the sense that, like, it's easy to do, but hard to make it sound good. So here's the first basic type of loop that I like to do. So the note here that is a start note is in a little like a double square. It's like a square and diamond, right? That is your start note. You can have as many start notes as you want. And you can do all sorts of things with them. I like to, well, they start a song, but if you have like a really long song, you can put them at muted in the middle of the song, turn the actual start of the song off, and start your test halfway through or something. Sometimes you just want to make a quick loop. Now, I could just connect this with the line tool to there, and normally, what it will do is travel back. But if we, this button here, what it does is it makes it teleport back. It turns the line red. It doesn't matter where it is. Also, this note is grayed out because it is currently muted. If I were to unmute it, it's going to play this note and this note at the same time, which doesn't sound good. So next, what we might be interested in doing is, like, we like that loop. I think that loop sounds fine. I don't want to change it, but it would be nice if it did something differently. So let's put down another note. We will mute it, we'll teleport it, and Yeah, that's fine. So now what will happen is it's going to take the bottom path first, then on its second loop, it's going to take the upper path because this is set to toggle. You can change it to something that sounds a little better. Okay, that's not bad. And we'll extend the duration of the note so it holds a little bit, just a tad. Okay. So now it's alternating between the two. Here's a feature that I didn't know about until quite a decent amount of time into the software. If you hit order paths, you can see the two paths coming off of this A. What happens is you can choose that it goes the direction, like you hit each of these things, it shows you which one by highlighting it red. So going to the 5 instead of the 15, you can weight it. So now it's going to go 4 times to the 1A, and then 1 time to the 1G. Another thing that we could do is with paths, if we already have it hooked up, we can hit paths, and we can, where is it? Not order, my bad. So it hits 5 first. When it first starts playing the song, it's going to hit the 5 first. If you highlight the 5 there, and you hit this button, it now prioritizes the 15. So it's going to hit the G first, and then it's going to do 4 plays of A. So instead of needing to delete all your lines, you can use the order button to readjust what the hell's going on here. Which will save you a crap ton of time. It also enables you to recycle parts of your song that you need to change, but not change a lot. So instead of pasting this loop down 4 times, or not pasting a loop, but like pasting these chords, or this progression out like 4 times in a row, you can just loop it, and then on that 5th time when you want it to change, instead of writing it all out again with the G instead, it will just default up to here. It'll save you time and space. So I really recommend doing that when you can. What else do we got? Okay, so if you can't be bothered to figure out what notes, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's explain the other functions up here first. This one, instead of sending it to one then the other, this one will just send it to both. So if I hit this, it's going to send in both directions. Which, as you can see, can cause problems in loops. If you were to do something like this seriously, you wouldn't want this to connect at all. So you don't want that second signal to loop back to the beginning. Oh, still had an overflow for some reason. I wonder why. Yeah, it's definitely making more notes. Suspicious. I wonder if it has anything to do with the paths. It's trying to send like four notes down through A. No, I think I might have just learned something. I can duplicate signals. I mean, obviously that doesn't sound good, but it's not screwing up now. Okay, that's an interesting thing that I just learned there. I don't know how practically useful it could end up being, but yeah, I could see some circumstances maybe in which I want to do something like that. Next. So you can have basically as many branching paths as you want off of any note here. And connect them all together. Make them all different values. Doesn't matter. I'm not trying to make a song here. I'm just trying to demonstrate features. Okay, so what's going to happen now is it's still set to all directions. But we can, if we want a song with randomness to it, we can hit the button here and it will send it to any random note. And instead of looping everything back through like 2 or like, you know, five teleport notes, you can bring them all back to the same one. So we'll turn all these into the teleports. We want there to be a little bit of a pause, but we want the pause to be the same for each of them. Right? So this one no longer teleports. This one will. Now you can change the weight. So going back into the paths option, instead of changing an order, you change likelihood. So if I really like how that A sharp doesn't sound good, let's go for the one A. Yeah. So this one sounds the best. So we want it to happen the most. We're gonna give it a let's give it a 50% chance. Everything else is set to like a 1% chance right now, or whatever. So let's how's the D sharp sound? Which is the D sharp? Back to paths. This one. We'll give that a 20% chance. And so on. Like, you can continue to adjust the probability of each specific path. I don't think that order affects anything here, because it's not trying to do anything sequentially, it's doing things randomly. So that's what these 4 symbols up here mean. Sequential, you can order it and number it. Omnidirectional, which you gotta be careful with. Random, and just a simple teleport. When teleport is selected, it will operate as would it if it were just sequential, I believe. Okay, so next up. Next, that. So if you don't want to figure out what notes you want to be using, the next feature is for you. Relative changes are really interesting. So we're starting the sequence with 1A. We can change it so that it just goes up. It goes up by 3 or 2. Go down. But if we can't figure out exactly if we want it going up or down, we can hit this button, which will make it hit randomly within a range that you allow for. So right now the range is only 3, so it's only going to vary 3 notes from the 1A. You can do the same with velocity, which is volume. You can bring the volume up. You can bring the volume way down. Or random. You can even do that to channel. I don't know why you would want to do that to channel. But I have a bunch of different channels highlighted on my DAW, right? So it's going from xylophone to piccolo to blown glass to bass and lead. Which is absolute nonsense. I have no idea why you'd want to do that. I'm resetting these values. Duration. So each note is held longer or shorter than before, which apparently makes this one not even play anything at all because its original duration is only set to 2. Repeat is an interesting feature. We can have each of these repeat once each. Usually like using the repeat function, but you know, it's a stylistic choice. Okay, so the next bit is something that I haven't been able to practically utilize particularly well. I'm actually gonna change the channel on all these because I want to hear the piano. Okay, so there is an option for a pass-through. Relative values will still pass through this point as if a value was chosen. A relative value will not change. So basically, now I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to demonstrate this properly because it's not a feature that I fully understand. Okay, so these notes right now are just going up in value, right? But relative value to each other. We're gonna add a couple more notes here. I'm gonna mute them because we don't care to hear them. These will be our new teleport lines. No, actually, I think I have a better way to describe this, right? So, this is going to take a minute to set up. Okay, so we're gonna make these relative nodes. No random. Let's just make it increase by 4. We're gonna change these by octave. Zeros, ones, twos. We want this one to go in both directions. Okay, I made a little bit of a mistake. Because it's going to take too long to get down there. So we need another node to teleport them down. Let's delete all these. We can select them, then delete them. Move this over to here, and connect these over to here. Mute telly, mute telly, telly mute. Spacing be 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Da-da-da-da-da. 2. Then we're going to want to space these out a little further. Also, another thing I forgot to point out or mention at all. You can change the path that anything takes by sending it like up and around or down and under. Or you can just hit this one and turn it into a direct line. I only recommend using the direct line feature for teleport lines. Otherwise, it will mess up with timing considerably. So let's turn these all into relative ones. Okay, so each one of these is currently just playing the same notes because the node it is connected to is the 3C. So if we do the pass-through on it, yeah, that worked. Looks like it takes a minute to kick in. There we go. So basically, we are sending the different octaves to this thing via the pass-through. So instead of needing to program any of the volume or any of the notes to this stretch here, what it does is it copies whatever the value is here, passes it through this note, and then translates it onto this with the relative note structure. So you can, as you can imagine, you can probably do some pretty crazy stuff with that kind of thing. I tried to do that with volume in one of my songs, and it just wasn't working properly. But it was in a different type of loop, which is something that I should probably consider. Do I have anything else to mention? Oh, yes, logic, of course. So, there are notes, there's logic. Logic is better used when you actually have random elements in a song. Start off. Let's move out of the way. So I'm going to make just a couple of things. I'm not figuring this out properly, but like, we'll see. I'm not trying to make music. We're gonna switch this over to wood block, like wood block. It's channel 6. I'm scrolling the wrong thing. Channel 6. Okay, this can stay piano, and let's make this it's back on channel 16, right? We will make each of these sustain for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Duration of 12. I also want to make sure that it will trigger at the same time that it should start for timing purposes. Right now it won't. I just got to figure out when that will be though. So if it's 12, we might want this at 24, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 23, 24. Yeah, let's change these with just random values. No, I don't want to do that. Let's bring these down negatively. And I should have done these ones down. These ones up. Okay. Go 6 up with the random chance or random scale, and 6 down random. These should maintain 3 Cs. We want this to be, it can be off. It should start off so that we don't overwhelm anybody. All right, so what should happen now? Since these 3 are all start notes, it will start playing all of it at the same time. However, these are all grayed out, but they're not set to mute. They're grayed out because the logic note is hit to not. I can change this to so that it's highlighted. They'll all be on. So what will happen is it will choose a random path. When it hits this C, it will go up or it will go down. When it goes down and the note travels along here and hits this and is about to teleport back, it will play the C, which is muted, but the C will play for 12 duration, and what that will do is it will open this gate, which will allow the notes that are currently being played over here to be audible for the duration that this is being held. And if it chooses to go up, it will do the same thing for here. So here it will play the night vision, here it will play the wood block. think we'll extend the duration just a little bit longer because I don't think that the timing is exactly correct. So I'm hearing a decent amount of wood. Oh, okay, that's why. The logic isn't actually connected to that specific one right there. No, it is. Yeah, I think now that that's sorted through, we can switch this back to 12. So that's how you can, that's one way that you can use logic. I'm not sure what the CC is for. So if you hit this, you can place down CC nodes. I haven't figured them out yet. Looks like you can connect them to things like you can logic. But relative CC changes, parameters, amount, channel. I haven't figured this out. I haven't really utilized it at all. So that basically everything I know about. So you can change the grid. Which, I'm not sure how it's practically useful. You can change the tempo. The tap button just kind of randomly changes the tempo. The scale, set to C, set to... that doesn't, from what I've experienced, doesn't actually change the layout of this drop-down menu, so I'm not sure what changing the scale does. Generally, I like to have a faster tempo because you can always just put more space between your notes. And if you need to hit in more notes, you can if you have, like, you know, a faster tempo, right? But if everything you built out is at a slow tempo and you're cramming things together, the moment you need to put even more in there than you thought you might need to, you're going to have to increase the tempo and then manually space everything out all over again, which will take ages to do. So I recommend just kind of keeping a faster tempo in the first place. I'm not trying to say that 180 is like the fastest thing in the world or anything like that. I think what this does is for the relative changes on the notes, this might change which notes it chooses to hit. So, for example, right? I'm not trying to say that I have all my modes memorized, but I'll demonstrate with my keyboard, right? So I think Alien, the default, is basically just A to G with no sharps or flats, and then you got other modes, right? Or no, that's not quite right, but so that's one of the modes. I'm not like proficient in musical theory. I have a little reference sheet on my phone. Let's pull it up. Might actually be kind of back in the gallery. I'm not surprised to take as many pictures as I do. Or save as many pictures as I do. Probably a more apt thing to say. Okay, I found it. Okay, so what I did there the first time was Ionian. Then we have Dorian. Pythagorean. Lydian. Mixolydian. Elian. And Locrian. So Elian and Locrian are minor chords. I don't know exactly what that means, but generally I think that they're using more sharps and flats, and they have a more downtrodden sound to them. But you know, that's just my opinion. So I think what the relative changes do with the scale here is you can choose these different things, and the notes will change in such a way to conform to whatever you've changed them to. Now, personally, I love the minor chords, so I'm going to keep it this way. But if you want something more upbeat, you might want to change it. If you're using a lot of relative notes and not actually writing your own music. What else do we got? You can use these features over here to show. It's like right now you can't see anything. I usually keep primary values on so you can see which notes I've selected things to be, and channels on so you can see which instrument. There is a way to label things. I don't usually do that. I think you just type in, I don't know, it's gibberish. No. What I have done when I have needed to label things is I just pop down a logic note, and then I can type in like 142 or something like that, and then I can put this next to whatever I want 142 to be. I could probably also type in like that could help you keep track of things. You can highlight path weight. Okay, so a trick that I had to do once or twice in my Umineko video, my Black Lilena, is I had to turn off snapping so that I could fit a few extra notes in there. Turning off snapping allows you to place your note anywhere. So you can place them like super close together. Oh, I didn't realize that thing was still on. I was like, what the hell? So once you've turned off snapping, if you need to, you can highlight them all, and I think you can get them to space back out. Which is it? Oh, okay. Yes, yes. Quantize. Quantize. This will attempt to readjust things back to the grid. I think send clock, receive clock, MIDI panic, and internal synth are just ways that the game they're basically just tools to make sure that your audio is hooked up, I think, correctly to help you proof test stuff. Obviously, you got all your typical features. Back in the day, it used to constantly save a bunch of temporary files or like autosaves in with all of your saves. It was constantly a huge mess. They've changed it, fortunately. Okay, so this is the Black Lilena project. But before I actually fixed it, I almost uploaded it as it is. So I had noticed that the song didn't seem quite like it was timed correctly. Specifically this part here. I want to bring it up because what I ended up doing is it was a trial, man. It was a struggle. So as you can see, there were parts of the song that I knew were correct. So I was transcribing it, right? So like I knew for sure that we had a 1D, a 1A, a 2D, a 3D, and a 4D all played at the same time. Because I was looking at it, I could literally see these things need to be pressed at the same time. So I lined them up, put them out, and like this, when the notes get there, this is correct. The issue is that spacing is here, right here. The spacing is fine, but there are places here where it's not. Basically, I realized that there are sections that how do I describe this? So basically, are these scales? I think the issue that I'm trying to describe are scales. I'm gonna open up a thing. Type in sheet music. Image it. Okay, like, I'm not going to try to play this, but what I'm trying to say, they're not spaced out equally either. But basically, what it's doing is, see these lines here? These lines demonstrate that your hands should be synced up by this point, right? If you're doing this, then these two things, they're adjacent to each other. It helps you visually orient yourself in the music. I don't know if that's a scale exactly, but it's a section. It's breaking the song into sections, and so see here, what had been happening was I had to just look at this visually for my transcription. I had to be like, okay, I think this note's getting hit at the same time this one is. That's what? A G. And this is, oh, that's also a G. And then the G. F sharp, G, D, G, A sharp. Okay, and when that A sharp is hit, this G is also hit, right? I hadn't been looking at the numbers on the side here. So it's like 37, 38, 39. These are equally spaced apart every time, 100% of the time. I had just been trying to eyeball it when I was writing it down. So in Midinous, in this version, as you can see, each one should be three grid squares away from each other. But at some point or another, it gets off. Where does it get off? Right here is a place in which it gets off. No. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, right here's one. Right here's one of the places it gets off. And that means that my notes were like either too compressed or actually just not aligned properly. This is basically correct. That there, that's too close. These are too close. Like over here, it just gets askew. Like these aren't actually lined up. So I went through the extremely arduous task of fixing it. So now everything is exactly lined up. So there's one more visually coherent. But 2, it sounds cleaner because there aren't just sudden jumps in tempo. So if it takes plopping down some logic notes and numbering them to help you keep organized, do it. I didn't need to do it here because this bit was easy. But as you can see, this is just repeating itself. At that 4th time, it switches over. That saved me a lot of space. The intro here, it's a for loop with 2 variants. And then it kicks off into the rest of the song, where again, this will eventually hit over and change up. Then it goes back, and it does the same thing, except it goes somewhere else again. This is again just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 notes, or 9 chords. Loops twice. But the second time, it's not actually going to play all 9, it's going to go and do that other thing. I had a note in here that was just actually the wrong note. I picked up on it only by ear. I had to highlight it, figure out which note that was in the YouTube video, and go and adjust it. This is the only part of the song that I think sounds a little wrong. But I can't place exactly if it is actually wrong or not. This part just sounds so good now that I fixed it. I made sure that everything had a time. So like if these notes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 apart, I give it a duration of 4. These are 1, 2, 3, 4 notes apart, I give it a duration of 2. So basically the note carries on until here, so it's like playing and stopping just shy of actually hitting the next note, which gives the impression of a hand actually needing to move from one place on the keyboard to another. So you don't want your notes to overlap because it just actually sounds unnatural. Demonstrate again with a different older project. Oh, that was the through port, my bad. MIDI port. When you change your save on the DAW, you probably are going to have to link things back up if you're doing things in a more manual Patchbay style like me. Maybe it will just work for you. If it does, you're lucky. So this is an ambient tone I made a while ago. I think this video is actually listed on my YouTube channel already, but I can talk through it and explain what the hell's going on. Over here, we have a couple of bells that activate every time it passes through here. But they're currently muted and only set to logistics. These logistics are set to AND, so it requires all of the signals that are currently connected to it to activate. And when it is activated, it will allow these to chime. Now, we have a note dropping through here, and it's randomly selecting which route it takes. And it is only holding open one at a time. Now, if it is able to drop, because these are on such a long timer, to all three of them within the time period in which they're all open, and all of these will activate onto this gate here, which will, one, shut off the low chords here, the low hum, dum. It will shut that off and activate the bell. Now that's back, the bell's off. Similarly, if it hits all the ones on the bottom here within a time, it will activate the bell, and it will turn off the high-pitched ones. Now, both the low and the high-pitched notes here are just kind of choosing which to hit at random, and they're not synchronized, which gives it an eerie, unpredictable feel. On top of the idea that the dripping sound here is also completely random, and it itself can be turned off one in 4 times. If it is turned off, we have other things that turn on. It's just a kind of a different drop, but as you can see, there is a lot going on here in terms of paths, random selection. I think using the random feature and turning things on and off with logic gates can lead to some really good, unpredictable, atmospheric soundtracks. I highly recommend playing around with it. I'm quite content with how this one turned out. My goal here was themed around a winter cave. I wanted something that would be eerie, cold, dreary, a little uncomfortable. Projects. I don't even remember what this is. Where are these? Jungle Coast. Let's open it up. But this tempo is so slow. So yeah, once again, I have different loops turning on and off other loops. We have the sound of the coast, beach, the tide rolling in. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, this I like this one a lot. Okay, what's my latest project? Okay, this is my latest project. Everything set to piano. Drum kit. The goal here was like haunted house, maybe like a chapel of some sort, abandoned church, something ghostly. Also, it wasn't my initial intention. I think it reminds me a decent amount of the Mario Ghost House, particularly this chord progression here. It sounds very Super Mario World-y, I think. Yeah, and in terms of like tutorializing, I've been done for a hot minute, I think. I don't have a lot of it, like things I can show off or do. And I don't really feel like working on this stuff tonight, so I think I'll play a song and end the stream. How about? Just, you know, a quick short one. It was not something to get too crazy with. Okay. What should I play? I could do my set, a little bit of piano practice or something. Okay, let's kick from the top. None of these are original songs. Wow, I'm really loving that, huh? Yeah, I'm in practice. Hot dang. Next song, though, maybe we'll do better. Flawless execution. It's from a game that I've been playing over on Twitch. As is this next one. Actually, just finished it up. Emmy route done. We got the good ending on the first try. It was Katoa Shoujo. It is a game in which you play a character that has been sent to a school for disabled kids. He's sent there because of a heart condition. He has to learn how to live with this disability and get along with the people that he initially considers as weird. There's a lot of faux pas that he makes along the way. He meets a bunch of different girls that he can take interest in, or vice versa. There's a girl named Emmy. She's a track star and she has no legs. There's a girl named Rin. She's an artist. She doesn't have arms. There's a deaf girl, which is the head of the student council body, and her translator, an autistic girl named Misha. There is a blind girl named Lily, and she's like very prim and proper, and she's like it. And then her best friend is Hanako, who is a burn victim, and she's really shy. So it makes sense that she spends her time with the girl that can't see her disfigurement. And, you get to know these characters as you play the game and get to date them and help them with their problems as they also help you with yours. Some more so than others. It's a very touching game. I was choking up a little bit earlier tonight. That was a pretty good run. I usually get a little tripped up on that one. Got tripped up at the very beginning, but that doesn't matter. Ah, okay, I messed it up. That's too bad. That's too bad. There's a couple other things that I know just a little bit of, right? Like, as I go right back into the same song. How did this one start? So part of the issue with that song, why I haven't continued learning it, is because it asks me to hit a note that is lower than that note. I don't have a note that is lower than that note on my keyboard. It's only like once in the entire song, but it throws me off every time. And I don't know anything after that either. It's not a song that I'm practiced in. So I don't usually get on about it. It does sound so nice though when it's played appropriately. Oh, I'm just messing around now, really. The Hyrule Castle theme from Link to the Past is pretty hard. All right, now it's stuck in your head forever. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out the bod. Zach, I hope you were able to learn something off of this video. If anything, just some of the features, especially considering the relative and path order and path priority. I think that's some of the most important thing that isn't obvious as to how to utilize said features. So if you made it this far, thanks. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and see you soon.